Yes, and we are live. Not sure if anybody is following us. Yes, we see a few people already coming in, and I see also Antonio already joining us. So I will see if I can invite him. Yes. Now, just waiting. So, good evening, everyone. And there is already Mr. Gardoni. Antonio.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very good, and you?
Fine. Very good. So, thank you, first of all.
Excuse me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There's a bit delay, but I can hear you. Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Perfectly.
Perfect. So, good evening, Antonio. Good evening, everybody who is joining this interview. First of all, thank you very much for accepting the interview, and cheers. So we already did an interview with Nick Stewart a couple of weeks ago from the brand Gallivant. People who have missed this interview can still watch the entire interview on our YouTube account, Smell Stories. So that's the past, but today we have Mr. Gardoni with us. Just maybe a short introduction myself. I am Kurt, and I'm Stefan, and we are the founders of the perfumery Smell Stories in Brussels, Belgium. And today we have the honor to talk to Antonio, who is the founder of Bogue Profumo, who is also a perfumer, but also an architect and a designer, so a man of many talents.
Eventually.
Of course, we will talk a bit about perfumes, but there is no better way than to also sniff them. So we have 3 fragrances here with us. Cheers this evening.
Cheers.
And people who are following us and have the chance to own a bottle or a sample, maybe they can sniff along with us and explore the fragrances. And I would propose that we start off with MAAI, the oldest in the family. You created this in 2014, I think?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yes. So this is MAAI. Show the bottle. Maybe also show a very funny, like rubber cap. You can squeeze it. So I really like that. Has a special feeling to it. And I also very much like your unique blotters, little faces. So tells already something about the brand. Yeah, you can stick it on your nose. We've done it quite a few times when there are no customers in the store. So I will just spray it on, so we can afterwards talk about it. You want some? No, that's good. Yeah. Just. So lovely. So MAAI, in fact, is a Japanese word. It comes from the martial art kendo. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Okay. Do you practice martial arts?
Well, I used to practice kendo for some quite years until I broke my knee a couple of years ago. And yeah, no, I kind of joke about it, saying that kendo saved my life. Not because of I was any drag addict or anything, but it's because it really helped me in understanding some very key things. And one of the key things I learned from kendo, well, 2 things actually. Even if 2 it's not a very nice number, but 2 things. One, the importance of space and time in physical, practical terms. And the second, or maybe third, maybe first, I mean, there's no kind of order, but it's the idea, the concept of the battle, of having to face an enemy, and that it's not really an enemy, obviously it's a martial art, so you don't really want to kill. someone, but it's the idea of confronting each other in fighting terms, if you want. And for many personal reasons, these two subjects weren't that clear to me before. And then it took me something like 3-4 years to understand them while I was doing Kindle. And as soon as I started to understand maybe 1% of it, because I can't pretend I know what I'm talking about, slightly improved my technique, let's say so. So it's, and MAAI, it's actually the Japanese term that you use to define the perfect distance between two opponents together with the perfect timing. So it's not only a matter of distance, but you might be 1 kilometer far away, and there's no help when you're holding a stick in your hand. But the balance, the sort of equation between time and space, there is a perfect invisible moment that it's the perfect moment where there's no winner or loser, and it's just the moment between two people very focused on each other and on themselves. But I don't want. I can talk about Canada for hours, but I guess it's not live about Canada. We'll do it next month.
But there is a bit of a link, I think, with your approach to perfume, because can I say that MAAI is your personal battle with the tuberose, which is a prominent element in this perfume. So I always have the impression that when you create a perfume, that your approach is to take a certain element, a certain ingredient, like in this case the tuberose, and then start the battle with it and see how far you can go with this element and adding other elements to it to create something unique.
Well, yeah, we can see it in that way. I mean, it's interesting because obviously in MAAI there is this very personal battle.
Oops.
I'm back.
Yeah, we lost you. Yeah.
Sorry, I was saying that, in MAAI, a lot of people talked about, the tuberose part of it. But bizarrely enough, MAAI started in my brain to work around incense. And I really wanted to kind of work on incense as a cloud, not incense as something more tangible, something that is almost dust of incense, kind of a faraway idea of incense. And while I was working on this idea of an incense, I was on a different in different areas, kind of testing different tuberose extracts and absolutes, etc. Because I tended, as many of us do, with each of us with a different note eventually, to have something in mind that we tend to don't like, and in my brain that was the tuberose, because somehow it's linked to all the lady allure, from the past, was very shitty, blah blah blah, and it was very difficult. I mean, especially when I was experiencing supposedly tuberose-based perfumes, I always got a very not very involving feeling. That, it's not something you can say I hate. There's not a single odor I hate, but there's also something quite conflictual about it. So I've been researching a lot about a specific idea of tuberose, and finally, while I was working on MAAI as an incense fragrance, so something that was supposed to be completely different from what we're smelling, I discovered my idea of that was a greener tuberose.
Yes, because it's a really fresh and green filter.
Because the part of tuberose absolute present in MAAI, it's actually coming from a very small supplier that harvests the tuberose slightly before its proper time. So it's not the best time to extract absolute from tuberose, but it's a few weeks before.
Okay.
And this, it's not very convenient economic-wise because you get less out of it, but greener. It's a sort of a greener absolute. And that was really inspiring because for me, tuberose was the flower. And then suddenly I discovered, or even better, I finally have been able to find a raw material that for me was the whole plant. So it was really kind of including long, beautiful green, deep green leaves of a tuberose plant, the roots, etc., etc. So there was something more down to earth, literal, in that idea of tuberose. So the incense MAAI suddenly got an injection of this amazing discovery I did at the time that probably everybody knew of. But for me it was very exciting. And then, you know, and then I started probably then a battle with kind of with how much I want to push the flowers, how much I want to push the rest, how much this. And I really, I mean, we were talking about I mean, and somehow I think, because I'm never sure, but I think that I've been able to have no winners in MAAI and to lose. I mean, it's a very tense, it's a very kind of right moment, time and space for
to collect
a million of seconds. That sort of tension between elements. So at least that was my, not really my idea, but what I tried to make out. If it makes sense.
Yeah, of course, because we have other tuberose scents, and this one is like has some fresh greenness and some earthiness to it, which makes it very different. I also noted that there is a very specific ingredient in MAAI, which is called hieracium. And I looked it up because I didn't know what it was. But if I can just say it like it is, it's like...
well, it's shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Poo that has turned into stone. So
no, exactly. I mean, it's not bad poo. It's good poo. Let's say.
But it is actually natural poo that you use to extract the essence for the perfume.
Exactly. I mean, a kind of hieracium, civet, amber, musk to a certain extent, etc., are materials that are really exciting for me. Well, I mean, I will probably repeat the exciting word referred to raw materials trillions of times in the next, I don't know how many minutes, because there are many. And again, it's difficult for me to find a non-exciting material. But somehow the naturals extraction of or somehow derived from animals.
We just got a question in of which animal the poo comes.
It comes from a sort of a beaver. It's a type of a beaver. It's quite common in South Africa. And then, I mean, I think that for vegan people, I use a supplier. I mean, in MAAI, there is a small amount of real civet, and but no traces of real hieracium at the end, for cost reasons and ethical reasons. Because with civet, you can apparently, I hope, I cross fingers, you can trace some producers that are quite ethical in extracting it. With hieracium, I never found one I trust 100%. And there are some amazing synthetic replacements. Plus, hieracium, all the animal notes are really something that are deeply physical if you smell the real raw material. but at the same time, are really mental, are really kind of something brave, because because coming from animals are probably the materials closer to our bodily experience. Somehow, sweat, fluid, solid, whatever you name it. And then it's not so important to use sometimes the real stuff. You know, the important thing, I mean, with the real stuff, I'm not talking about expensive or not expensive. There are some animal related raw materials that are almost more expensive than the natural ones, synthetic. So it's not a matter of economics. It's a matter of mainly two reasons. One reason is consistency. I mean, it's very difficult to find this material with the same quality, or at least with the same odor from a season to the next one. And then it's it's very tricky again, the ethical things. Because they come from strange regions where you never know.
Yeah, you don't have 100% control.
My dog is walking in the garden. I don't want any of his friends to happen anything bad.
Okay, perfect. We just got a question in about what kind of naturals do you use in your perfume?
Well, I tend to use quite a lot of naturals. I mean, it's a tricky subject because it always sounds like a marketing question, or at least a marketing answer. So for some people, if I will reply, I use a lot of naturals, it's a good thing. For some people, if I say I will use a lot of naturals, it's a bad thing. But besides what other people think, I tend to use quite a lot of naturals because that was first love. So I find them easier. Easier, it's not the right term, but I find them closer to my skills. So I operate them in a more comfortable way. And there is something magic. I mean, sometimes I receive emails talking about MAAI, of people saying kind of, oh, I got a second bottle of MAAI. It smells quite different from the first I got. And I say kind of, well done. Lucky you. Because, I mean, first of all, MAAI is produced in very small batches. And every batch, it smells slightly different because of the use of naturals. So even if you use very common naturals, let's say a lavender absolute or something like that, they do change. I mean, we had a big crisis a couple of years ago with vetiver because of the floods and a season in Sri Lanka and Haiti. And so it was very difficult to get vetiver and very expensive natural vetiver. And it smelled very different from the year. And every year it smells different. So, I mean, I would say that in MAAI, you will find something like 70% of naturals within the ingredients. But I do love aldehydes. So, I mean, you know, I love chemicals. They do some magic. And it's like... I mean, other people before me said that. I mean, it's like being a good 18th century, 19th century artist. So using a sort of naturalistic light, trying to recreate reality. And at the same time, you want to play with abstract art and abstract forms and more contemporary things. So I think that, you know, I have no prejudices really. For any of these two families. But I do love natural.
Okay, thanks. Maybe it's a good moment to start to sniff on a second one, which is MEM. MEM was created in 2017, so it's a more recent one. I'll just spray it on these wonderful bottles. Can I stop showing them? They're just amazing. So here we have a different flower and also a lot of freshness, a lot of acidity even in the beginning. And then you have this wonderful lavender that comes through. I think this is one of your most complex perfumes. It's extremely complex, and I read somewhere that you used 68 ingredients to create this perfume. I don't know if this is a myth or if this is true, but this sounds really complex.
Well, Jean-Claude Elena, that is a genius, says that the less ingredients you use, the better you are. If you can achieve a great perfume. And I do believe in that. And I think that eventually, in something like 100 years, I will be able to use less ingredients. And eventually, someone like Hermes will call me over. But probably I will be too old to care about it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not as good as a Jean-Claude Elena, so I tend to use a lot of ingredients. And probably it's not far from reality, 68. But 68, I mean, in my, you have more or less the same amount. I mean, in more or less all my perfumes, it's very difficult for me to go under 45 or 50.
Okay.
So I would say that between 50 and 70, I feel comfortable. The people that are producing my perfume are feeling less comfortable because it's stupid, essentially. It doesn't make any commercial sense what I'm saying and what I'm doing, but because some of the ingredients are there in a percentage that it's ridiculous.
Yeah, very small. Yeah,
I don't know, 0.001. You know.
Okay.
And so I know that they're there, but nobody else will. Well, they do make the difference to me. So I will not. I tried to simplify and remove some of the very small quantities of some ingredients, but then they smell different. So I'm happy. But somehow, I mean, MEM, it's a great example because, for example, in MEM, there's this other thing that it's not that it's true that there are 5 types of lavender to create, for me, the meaning of lavender. So, and that 5 different types of lavenders are not there just for the sake of it, but because the 5 of them, they do 1 lavender, essentially. So I count 5 lavender, 1 ingredient.
Yes, to make 1 virtual.
The 5. But for me, in my mind, in my brain, in my projection, it's the lavenderness for me. Etc. And that same thing happens for almost every material. So if you divide 68 times 5, we're talking about probably 15 materials.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
There is also a question coming in: is there sometimes legal interferences that you cannot use certain products, and that then it changes your formula?
Well, I mean, it never happened to me until now. I mean, I haven't been working in this field for so long to be facing these issues. So the differences that some people might experience with my perfumes really come from the differences in the raw materials. The formulas are all the same. No reformulation due to any reason, but just sorry, bells.
No problem.
But really, the naturals are unpredictable sometimes, and I try sometimes to counterbalance some of the effects that the natural create in every different batch production. But not too much, because there is something playful about it as well. I mean, the fact that, you know, it's the same thing, like you cook always the same cake, but you know, and you do an apple pie, you know, and sometimes your apple are just tastier than the previous time, or sometimes are slightly more bitterish. Sometimes are sweeter. Sometimes, but you're not adjust the sugar or other ingredients to your stomach.
Yeah, I understand.
And there is a sort of, because I mean, perfumes are not only a physical thing. It's they are conceptual thing as well. So it's like if you think about art or performance art, it's better. I mean, there's something, you buy a script, you buy instructions of or you buy of someone that did something at a certain point. But it's a representation of the idea that happened, that ordered, etc. I think that with perfumery, it's not that different. So I do accept variations. I do accept interpretations. I do accept haters. I do accept lovers. I mean, I do accept reality.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Somebody says it's like cooking.
Yeah.
Well, it's like cooking, or it's like mixing.
Yeah. It's like making a cocktail.
And somebody else says, so should we then buy multiple bottles? It's fine for us.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Every new batch, you need a new bottle. Yeah.
But you will have clients slightly complaining eventually about the. It doesn't smell the same, or you have a tester from a different batch, and the bottle. But let's not say these things publicly.
Too late.
Too late.
Okay. Sorry.
Another element is so on the one hand you are very meticulous and very precise on the ingredients and the number of percentages, so you're very serious in your approach. But on the other hand, I think your brand is one of the most playful we have. If you just look at the blotters, if you look at the rubber cap, if you look at the logo and the name, it's a bug. So do you think that people sometimes take perfume too serious and that you want to add some more joy to it? Or what is your approach to, what is your vision on that?
Well, I think that especially in this field and on this subject, I'm so happy that everybody can do whatever they want. So if you want to take it deeply seriously, take it deeply seriously. If you want to kill for a perfume, I'm not here to give life instructions to anybody. I think for me it's a very serious subject in a very light phenomenon. I mean, I mean, you have to be very serious the way you do it, the way you work on a formula, the time you spend on it, etc., etc. But then, as soon as you finished your formulation, you can start playing, and it's like. I don't know. It's like I mean, this might be quite incorrect, but it's like making love. It's a serious, but you can laugh about it. So it's probably similar to physical love, not to mental love. So it's something you have to do all you can to give to do your best, but at the same time you can have a laugh. It's fun. We're not talking about the saving people from some disease. We're not talking about serious.
It's not doing your accounting
It's a serious business, but it's not a serious. I mean, it's not an essential thing. I mean, it's the accessory of the accessory of the accessory of the accessory of the accessory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so
in the dry of it gets a bit sweet, but also a bit minty, no? Or is it my opinion?
Well, if you say so, it's so. I mean, who am I?
Well, that brings me to brings me to another question. When you go to your website, you can see the bottle. So you can see the bottle of MAAI, or you can see the bottle of MEM. You see the name of the fragrance. You see the date of birth of the perfume, and that's it. So you don't give any explanation on the inspiration or the notes, is that deliberate to leave everything to the imagination of the person who wears the perfume? Waiting for the question.
Yes.
Right.
I'll come back.
Now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you now perfectly.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Techniques, no problem. It's Instagram, it's not us. I would say. I was just going to ask a question. We were talking about serious or fun, and that on your website, you don't mention a lot of information about the perfume. And I was wondering if this is deliberate to just let people explore the perfumes themselves and then say it smells minty, okay, then it's minty, or is there another reason for that?
Oh, damn it, I forgot about it. No, I'm joking. I forgot to put some information about myself. How will I ever be able to sell them? Anyway, no, it's
well, you have people like us.
Exactly. No, but that's the point. I mean, you called yourself Smell Stories, so you tell the story.
Okay.
And each people that will encounter what I try to do will tell his own story, their own story.
Yeah. Okay.
So my production is very small. I do type things. I don't really want to be bought at the moment. Maybe in 5 years, yes, but I don't want to be bought by Estee Lauder right now.
Yeah.
So it's I have no need to create an interest beyond what really is for you and you and you and you and you and you. And I really think that sometimes I feel that we read too many stories about perfumes, and that's nothing against you. But, but at the end of the day, who cares if there's a band? Who cares if I created this thing in a full moon night while I was thinking about a last love, etc., etc. Who cares if the name of the perfume is called "Sex in the Jungle"? I really think that a lot of informations are really distracting, or at least more than distracting, are really kind of almost forcing people to experience what the marketing department thought it was a clever idea.
Okay.
I don't have a marketing department, so that's why I don't have notes on my perfume. So no, but seriously, I think it's very. I mean, perfume. It's something stupidly magic. I mean, we can't help it. It's fantastic. We can't live without them. I mean, at least the three of us and the 12 people connected. But I mean, who am I to tell you now smell Nero? Who am I to tell you think about Portofino or Côte d'Azur in autumn? I mean, even because my inspiration and the way I work, it doesn't start from there. I mean, I don't start thinking about a beautiful countryside where I'm having a picnic. I can do a perfume about sausages.
We got a question in regarding your tagline. Earth loves and flowers. Yeah, so could you explain that?
Sorry, regarding?
Your tagline, apparently, Earth loves and flowers.
Well, that's not a quote I created. It's a quote I love, and I'm really an earthy person. I mean, I like to see plants growing. I like to see what happens with seed when it meets water. I mean, nature is fantastic. It's so much better than us. And when you look at Earth, But when you look at earth in the meaning almost of soil, you see that it's having fun. It's really having fun. And it's almost laughing. I mean, and it's laughing, expressing itself with, herbs and grass coming out, and flowers and growing trees and birds eating the fruit of the tree, etc. I mean, it's fantastic. So I find that quote perfectly matching one of my vision about nature, because nature, it's I mean, even if we try to do our worst against it, it's laughing at the end of the day. It's laughing. You loser, you know.
Okay. Maybe this is the perfect moment to also discover your latest fragrance. This is Douleur, which is a collaboration with the famous tattoo artist Freddie Albrighton, who's probably a friend of yours then for a long time. Do you have tattoos?
I do have one that is not visible at the moment.
Okay. No further questions.
Nothing extreme, but I do have one. But that's not so extreme. I mean, I'm not a tattoo person myself.
Okay.
Freddie was probably one of the very first person back in the days that really helped me understanding what I was doing, and we spent a few years without meeting each other, just swapping samples and emails. And again, I mean, back to the website. One reason I don't write things is because I don't really know what to write. I really enjoy reading other people because I'm somehow, I mean, it might sound stupid, but I'm not a perfume expert. I mean, I'm not a person that can quote other perfumes from the past, find references, create things, etc. I'm quite ignorant, actually, in the history of perfumers. And people like Freddie and a lot of other people really helped me with their kind of reviews and private messaging, etc. Telling me what was their experience of a person to understand better what I was doing. And I really learned about, I really own my brand to bloggers and reviewers, because they really, they didn't only made me like famous, or at least tellable. But really, the most important thing for me is that through their experience and their cleverness and their intelligence in reading and understanding and experiencing perfumes, they helped me understanding what I was doing, essentially. So Freddie was one of the early ones. And after a few years of swapping samples and messages, we met in London. And he was a kid. I mean, he's still a very young boy, compared to me at least. And it was so fantastic. I mean, I can listen to Freddie's talking about perfumes for hours, because it's not perfumery anymore. It's something else. And it's very technical. It's very technical as well, etc., etc. So, and we've been talking many times in front of a pint about the possibility one day eventually. Then finally, more or less a couple of years ago, we decided, okay, let's do it. But again, it was a very playful experiment. We didn't want to have a perfume ready by October 2000. It was let's play with it. And then, as it happens in these situations, you get very involved in the things, and you can't stop, essentially, and you want people to experience that, etc., etc. So that's how Douleur was born, and it's a great collaboration. I mean, I love collaborating with people, actually, because fun. I mean, I don't really believe in the kind of the magic perfumer, you know, alone on a hill, thinking of inspirations from God.
We also got a question, and if you will have a new release soon.
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, kind of being a sort of a fun game. The first production of Douleur, we kept it small because we knew it was quite an extreme product. I mean, it's not exactly the easiest eau de cologne you can wear to go to the office every morning. I guess that's what people say. So we thought, okay, let's not do too many, you know, before having too many bottles to give to friends and family. So we did a 300 bottles batch. But somehow some people liked it. So the 300 bottles are now over. I mean, there are retailers like you that didn't come. And then we thought, okay, let's redo it. But you know, it's too boring to do the same thing. So we thought, okay, let's do some variations in the edition. I mean, so it wasn't supposed to be a limited edition, so don't take it as a limited edition. It's cheaper even than the other one, so it wasn't supposed to be that. But the second edition that will be hopefully available around the end of September will be slightly different. So the Douleur lover will find what they loved, and the Douleur haters, they might change their mind, or even better. And now I'm talking with retailers. The Douleur lovers will hate it, and no new customers.
Well, the feedback we get the most from our customers who try Douleur, they have both feelings at the same time. They say, I love it, and somehow I'm also a bit repelled by it, and maybe that's why I love it. So it's very confusing because people have a very strange, they cannot stop sniffing it, and then they say, but I'm not sure if I love it or hate it. So it's a very intriguing perfume.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're not sure if you love or hate something, I think it's very human. It's very, it's actually very, it's a very common feeling. You know, and it's something that we are not allowed almost to feel, you know, because you have to love or hate in life, you know. But I think it's interesting, and sometimes it's more intriguing to have mixed feelings about people, things, feelings, themselves, etc., etc. So the name itself, it's a challenging certain perception of how you should approach perfume. You know, I mean, we have fantastic perfumes from the past with critical names, you know, like opium,
or poison, or
but you know, the same thing with pain. I mean, we are not supposed to talk about pain, to share pain. You know, we always have to be performative. We always have to be in a good mood, etc., etc. But life, it's made of pain and joy and love and hate, and that's why it's fantastic. You know, if we have no experience of pain, we will never have experience of joy, probably. So, you know, it's part of the nature of things, you know. So we need black and we need white in life. We need everything. And
we also got a question regarding collaborations, but I could not read it completely. It's something about you making a perfume with a dinosaur smell or a plastic smell.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're talking about the T-Rex, I think.
Yeah, I have the feeling. Yeah, well, T-Rex wasn't. I mean, yeah, it was a collaboration, but it was a collaboration / commission by the great perfume house of zoologists, Canada, Victor Wong. Long life, Victor. Because he's a friend, he's a fantastic, beautiful person, and he's a great creator. So T-Rex was a fun project. Was a fun, hard project to do with him. And yeah, it's well, T-Rex. It's T-Rex. It's a different story. I mean, again, pain, extincted animals, lava, big flowers, nectar. You name it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. People very often describe your perfume as having a vintage touch. Is that a compliment for you, or is it something you look for? Or
well, I don't know. The real answer is
okay.
whatever.
Okay, well, that's also an answer.
It's not deliberate, at least. I mean, it's there's not a deliberate thinking behind of making a vintage smelling perfume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were we? Did we still have other questions that came in from?
Currently not.
No? Okay. Maybe we can just, to get you to know you just a little bit more before we close. I have some dilemmas I would like to give to you, and then you have to pick one of the two words that explains best who you are. Now, we're just talking about there's black and white, and there's a lot in the middle, so I think there's not right or wrong, of course. Sometimes it will be an answer in the middle somewhere. But
the interruption made sense. It was perfect timing for an interruption.
Yeah. Okay. Do you prefer the light or the dark?
A small light in the darkness. A match.
Because I read on your site that you prefer to work to create perfumes at night when it's dark, and that you're not.
Well, it's not something I prefer to do it. The fact is that daytime I have to be an architect.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome back, Antonio. Yeah, we have a bit of trouble with the techniques. So I propose to not keep it too long anymore to avoid other problems. So we're talking about light and dark. Another, because if you would have to choose between being an architect or a perfumer, what would you choose? Because you are both. You work day and night.
Well, I will probably choose to be a perfumer architect.
Okay, that's the good answer. Does the fact that you are an architect influence how you approach perfumery?
Well, the truthful answer is who knows. I mean,
okay.
I think that a lot of things, we do a lot of things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Do we know how each things influence the others? It's difficult for me to say so. But I think, the way we eat, what we drink, the people we meet, the books we read, the Netflix series we watch, I mean, everything influences us. So obviously, architecture influences me, but probably it influences me in a technical way. I mean, there are things in architecture that are really interesting on how you can build and create a feeling of a space, make someone comfortable, make someone uncomfortable, make someone silence. I mean, when you walk in a church, even no matter if you believe in it or not, you will feel the space as a sort of silence activate somehow. So architecture is very powerful in creating feelings with them. And I think that's probably the similarity.
The link with perfume. Yeah. Do you like perfection or imperfection?
I like imperfection.
Okay. Is that why the brand is called Bogue? Can you maybe like in MEM, for instance, is there a little bug in there? Is there something a bit quirky in there? Well, that's not MEM.
Sorry, what's the question?
Well, the brand is called Bogue, so which is like a bug in a computer software, something like that. Do you add some quirkiness in every perfume?
Well, I not intentionally. I mean, I don't look for weirdness for the sake of it. You know, but probably it's in me, so I can't help it. I don't know. And you know, and bugs help plants to reproduce a lot of time. So it's all about sex.
Okay. I think I've almost gone through all the questions I had prepared. Do you have a question for us?
Me?
Yeah. Why not?
Do you like them?
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't have. You were one of the first brands we had in our store, so of course we do. Yeah. Although, and it also helped us develop our how we interpret, how we experience perfumes, because they are different than what we are used to. So it was also a good exercise for us to smell them and smell them again, and to see what is possible in perfumery, and it's maybe different than what you can find in other perfumes. So that was really interesting for us. Still is.
We just got a question again about this poo in. What's the name of the poo?
Hieracium.
Somebody asked it.
Yeah, Hieracium. You can look it up on Wikipedia. There's a whole explanation on what it is and how it's collected, and so you can
with an H, Evelyn, with an H.
There's your dog. There's your dog. So I think we can leave it here for now. I would very much like to thank you, Antonio, for your openness and talking about your perfumes in such a passionate way. I would like to thank everybody who has been following us. As last time, we will also record this interview, so we will put it on our YouTube page in a few days, so you can still watch it back if you missed it. And I think in 2 weeks we will have another one with another brand from Germany this time, from Hamburg, which will be Atelier PNP, where we will talk with Daniel Plettenberg and I forgot the name, I wrote it down, and Stefanie Meyer. So that will be in 2 weeks, on 10th of September to be exactly. So that's the next in our series.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
That's about it. Thank you. Enjoy the evening.
Well, thank you. I saw a lot of friends taking part of this.
Okay.
I mean, all of them are friends, essentially. From so and I'm very bad because I'm not wearing. I should wear this all the time, but
yeah,
it's not.
But he also
have the same problem,
so
I cannot read the names. So, yes.
So you can have the chance to say hello personally to each of them, but I mean, they know I love them.
Good. Now they know for sure. So
thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. Nice evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.